Let's talk about airdrops on Solana. Where can you get value from putting in your capital and getting a decent allocation of tokens? There'll be a few videos in this category, but right now it's the 18th of March 2024, and let's go over some really hot ones. So I can't do this all by myself, of course, so fortunately there are some other good people out there that are really keeping their eye on different protocols. Fabiano.sol, really good little summary pieces on Twitter. Make sure you're following this person here. They cover Parcl, Drift, Marginfi, Kamino Finance, Meteora, Zeta Markets, and DFlow. I won't cover all these, but let's touch on some of them quickly now. Before we go any further, I've done pretty much a tutorial on every single DApp that I'm about to cover, but not all of them. However, you should be able to work them out from there. So when you want to specifically get information, just go and check that video out so you can actually navigate that DApp nice and easy. With Whales Market though, this is a really good DApp that allows you to basically do OTC trades for points and things like that. So if you go to the points market, you can actually see anything that's actually currently trading points. So if I do miss something, or if you see quite a decent amount of volume on something, that's another indicator, because I'm not going to be able to update you all the time. Plus, even if I do, you'll miss a video. It's just the natural thing. And really, we want everyone just to be doing really well with these. So as an example, with Drift Protocol, you can see there's $104,000 worth of volume. There's Marginfi points here, $88,000 worth. We've got Zeta Markets, 52,000, and Parcl, 524,000. So clearly, if you're going to look at those, it's pretty obvious that Parcel's getting a lot of attention. But there are other ones as well, with Kamino over $1 million worth. Absolutely insane. And some of these, by the way, are on other blockchains like Athena. This relates to USDC, not USDC. It's like a stablecoin on another blockchain. We won't worry about that. So anything that's specific to Solana, I'll cover in this video here. Magic Eden, there's also diamonds, plenty of volume there. So let's jump into the first one, Drift. Now, if you go and use Drift, basically you need to pump volume through, like really pump volume through. So probably what you're best off doing is actually putting on a trade on one DApp like Drift, and then putting the opposite trade on another DApp. So as an example, I'm not going to go through and show you how to do it with every single one, but let's just say we go and put on a limit order, maybe something pretty decent, like, I don't know, $2,000 worth on Sol. We might go in long Sol. It's going to cost us 2 USDC, $2, and we confirm this transaction. So this transaction is going to go through, and then we're going to have a long position. We need to double check that we actually have the long position. If it doesn't go through, if it's still marked like that, then make sure you either make sure it goes through or go to limit and just change it to market. So just update it so it actually goes through. Otherwise, if you go and basically hedge the position, then if unfortunately the price goes down, it never fills or something, then you don't really actually have a hedge. So you need to make sure that this is filled. So as an example, we can go and cancel this, or we can just go and update it. We'll confirm, and we'll confirm because of course this moved very fast. Now it can take a little bit of time to actually go through. That's just the nature of using a DEX. Sometimes it moves a little bit slower. Just for context, what kind of volume would I be looking to actually put through? Probably $500,000 or more, like a decent amount. And of course, we're looking at paying probably at least $500 in fees, at least. So you just got to keep that in mind. Then we're going to go and accrue some points. And with these points, the goal would be that we're going to get tokens that will be worth more than the fees. Now, I do like Drift.trade. I really like it. It's got a very clean UI. And they've got all sorts of other things, such as the Drift Draw. You have to make sure that you actually sign up for the tickets so that you get tickets. I'm clearly not getting a lot of tickets compared to these big people here. And all these big dogs here, they're going to be getting a huge number of points. But really, if you have a look at this actual DApp, it's very clean. Very clean. Now, I think this part is very obvious. However, we need to be keeping an eye on a daily eye to make sure that a position does not get liquidated. And as soon as we put a position on this side, we have to go and put a short position on the other side so we stay delta neutral. So as an example, we could go and use something like Flash Trade. So we can get started, we can connect our wallet. With this particular DApp, it's giving you a points bonus if you actually use Backpack. I don't have Backpack ready to go, but you can use Backpack if you want. Then we'll go for a short position here, and then we want to hedge, which would mean we would hedge with 10 Sol. Now, personally, I'm far more bullish on Sol. So this is not financial advice. Nothing will ever be financial advice, but I would much rather have risk to the upside. In other words, I think the price will go up. So I won't completely hedge. Then I'll go and change my leverage option here. make sure I've got a decent amount of USDC to cover it, and then I'll go and start this trade. Now, of course, if I'm doing this, I'm actually going to do it a lot faster. I'm not going to make any mistakes, of course, but I'm going to do it so that it's basically delta neutral. Don't put a whole lot of money through here until you know what you're doing. Learn how these DApps actually work first, and make sure the transaction goes through. That's super important. Right now, Solana is kind of congested, and a lot of transactions are being dropped by the validators. All of these issues are being looked at and will be fixed in the future, but that's currently what's happening. So right now, we're still waiting for this position to go through. So I've given it a refresh. The transaction did not go through. So we're going to go and try this again because, of course, we want to make sure that this transaction goes through. So I'm going to be paying $600 to put this through. And by the way, you do get extra points if you have one of their NFTs. We'll cover that in a second. Let's just make sure this transaction has actually gone through. Okay, so this is the third time. It's now looking like it's going to work. Let's give it a go. This took too long, but we finally got through. We've got our transaction. We're shorting with 9 Sol. Once again, we'd want to put a decent amount of liquidity through this particular DApp. If we were going to put a lot of volume through, you may want to grab yourself one of their NFTs and go and stake it and do all that jazz. Alternatively, you could use Zeta Markets. Now, they're more established than Flash trades, but because they're more actually established, you already kind of have a little bit of contention with points here. Same thing applies here though. Just go and connect your wallet, continue, Phantom, or in this case, I believe Phantom, or in this case, I think you get more rewards if you're using Backpack. And then once again, you just go and put on a trade, either the short or long. These things you just don't set and forget though. You have to understand what is your entry price and what is your liquidation price. You can of course actually set a stop loss or a take profit. However, you'd probably be doing this daily in order to get more volume through. So you'd go ahead and you'd close the position. This one, we can see it's down almost $6, and this one's up about $16 or thereabouts. So once a day, you may go and close this actual position. Now, Solana Floor has a really good blog post on Zeta points in particular, and down here you can see you can maximize your Z score, Z score, and airdrop potential by basically using a couple of different systems. One, of course, is a delta neutral strategy, which is exactly what I've just shown you. So we short and then we long, and then there's also promotions. So there's the Backpack wallet boost. I'm using Phantom. You're most welcome to use whatever wallet you use. If you're after more of an airdrop, of course, go and use Backpack. Just be very, very aware that when you are new to the space, I definitely prefer Phantom. I prefer Phantom anyway, especially if you're new. It's just a little bit better at protecting you from scams and things like that. It's got a nice clean UI. But for extra points, right here you're here because you want to deep and you want to get actual airdrops. So go and use Backpack. You can go and purchase one of these if you want to unlock a significant Z score multiplier, but I haven't done my research to see if these are actually worth it. They very well could be though. Next place to go and farm, of course, is actually Backpack Exchange. Now, this is not available in Europe. It's only available in certain countries, and it's only available in particular US states. However, if you can, it's very, very clear. It literally says volume matters. So with Backpack, you'd probably want to go and do long on Sol, or maybe you just want to go and buy Sol and then sell it, or buy Sol, sell it for Bonk, and then quickly go and sell it for Dupe, and then go and sell it for Pith. Once again, you're still paying fees, but there's this massive speculation that you're going to get an airdrop, and the airdrop will be worth more. There are plenty of YouTube videos out there that say something like, take $10 and get $10,000 worth of airdrops. Good luck. Of course, it's possible, but it's highly, highly unlikely. Really, what's going to happen here is we're in this current narrative or this meta, and it's essentially you're going to go get a token. The token value will go up because it has so much potential, etc., etc. You take some of that token. If you really like it, maybe you hold some of it, but you probably go and sell some to get your cost basis. You'll break even on some, and you won't break even on others. As an example, if you jump on Ethereum and start to do airdrop farming over there, it's very hard to even beat your actual gas fees. You probably need to go with 10 ETH or more into different positions. On Solana, it's far easier. I'll also say to not fade something. As an example, I've kind of faded Backpack. No, I can't use the exchange anyway, but I've faded it because I didn't really see that it has value over something like Binance or Bybit. However, it doesn't matter. It's new. People will be interested in it. Even if it's just 30 or 50,000 people, this kind of little wee ecosystem. it doesn't matter. Plus, there's extractable value for you as a user. So definitely sign up and definitely use this. In another tutorial, I'll show you how you can do automation, but for now I'm just showing you basically you can do it manually. Now let's move on to Marginfi. Now Marginfi has been going for a decent amount of time. There's over 300,000 wallets, and the total ranked wallets 180,000, and the TVL is over 600 million. The expectation is to actually have that token come out Q2 2024 to Q1 2025. Now, if I actually see something like this, I'm probably not going to say that it's worth jumping into. And the reason why it's not worth actually jumping into is because it's already been heavily farmed. I mean, I've got some points in this wallet. This is just a tutorial wallet. You can see my global rank, nothing crazy there. I have 546,000 points, and the number one address has 2.62 billion points. So of course, you're welcome to do this, but just remember you need to go in with a decent amount of size. And although the DApp is very good, it actually is losing in the TVL battles at the moment. So I'll say for right now, I would skip this. But I will cover it in another video because there is something exciting happening with their own stablecoin. Now let's move on to Kamino Finance. I'm bullish on Kamino Finance. I have a tutorial on this. I also have a tutorial on Marginfi, but I do have a decent number of tutorials actually on Kamino Finance. So what you want to do here is get as many points as you can because the actual token generation event is coming really soon in April. Now you can do all sorts of things to get more points. If you go and hover over these stars, it will tell you the boost value in terms of points. These are dynamic. So this is 5x right now. If you go and just put in some SOL, you get a decent boost. If you put in USDC here, you only get a 2x boost, whereas if you put into this vault, it's a 3x boost. If we scroll on down and put it into this altcoin market, then we get nothing. If we put WIF in here, we get 2x. If we put Bonk in here, we get 2x. Personally, I don't think it's worth doing it down here. Instead, go and stake your Bonk, in my opinion. There was a huge amount of tension on the multiply vaults. However, the boost value has decreased because there was just too much boost going in here and it just didn't make things well worth it. Then you've got long and short. If you go in long SOL, you get a really nice boost. And if you long the others, it's not worth it. So longing SOL, this is definitely worth it. Of course, remember, if you're going to go leverage in here, make sure you're hedging in another location. And once again, not financial advice, but if I'm going to long something, I'm not going to completely hedge it because I do want some price exposure risk to the upside for SOL. Next bit of alpha is Meteora. So Meteora, I've done a decent tutorial on Meteora, a really decent tutorial if I may say so myself. And just in case it's not super clear, Meteora it's kind of the same team as Jupiter. They've kind of gone off in their own separate directions in a sense because it's just too much for one team to kind of be in charge of. However, as far as I'm aware, Meow has a few things to do with Meteora and Ben from Meteora has a few things to do with Jupiter. Now, it doesn't really matter. All you need to know is you're getting farming points by actually putting liquidity in. Also with dynamic pools and with the normal pools with just general farms. So DLMMs, they're all up here. You can see I've got deposits that are actually out of range, so I need to fix them up. And to be honest, these are probably not the best because if I jump into it here, then you can see all of my SOL has gone. So they definitely need to be managed if you're going to use DLMMs. And of course, in the pools, there is the risk of impermanent loss, and it is a very high risk. You can see I'm in Baskin SOL, and there are supposed to be some extra rewards. I wonder if they've finished. If we go to farms here, Baskin SOL, claim all. Potentially the basket rewards may have finished right now for this particular LP pair. However, I'm still earning rewards by being in this liquidity pool. Now for Meteora, you do need to watch my full tutorial. However, Meteora is probably the best alpha. Just remember they're going to have a similar thing to the dupe effect. And the TVL currently in Meteora is probably maybe 300 million. I'm not actually entirely sure, but this will be over $1 billion in no time at all. Now, if we take a look, the expectation is token generation event Q3, Q4. And at present, TVL is 250 million or thereabouts. And that's actually quite low. So getting in now, this is the time to do it. Try and get more of those MET points, which you cannot see, by the way. They're all accruing, but there's no actual dashboard to see them. And it seems there's a huge number of wallets. However, these are not all providing liquidity. I imagine most of these are just wallets that have actually just used Meteora, but I'm not entirely sure on that. Next up, we're going to go to Parcl. So Parcl, the end is very, very close, late March. token generation event being April. So I've done plenty of tutorials on this as well, but we'll just go into launch app and then you go and connect your wallet. You must be in an okay jurisdiction. So in other words, not in the United States, and you just start your onboarding. Go through this, but probably the best thing is actually to start with just providing some liquidity. I don't have very much money in this actual wallet. I'm just going to show you here. I'm going to deposit and confirm and activate points, activate my points on Parcl, activate, and now I'm earning some points, but I cannot withdraw this USDC for a little bit. And the actual earnings on this are very minimal, and they could go down, but you can see they are going up just very, very slightly. By the way, come up to the hamburger menu, go to referrals, and make sure you add my code, sebmonty, and save. I won't add it because you're not allowed to refer yourself, and at the same time, they don't really appreciate if you do multiple wallets, but I'm sure they're okay if I'm just showing you how to use this. Now, for more information on how to actually trade this, go check out the other videos. But right now, if you're going to jump into Parcl, you don't have a lot of time. So it's probably best that you go in with a couple of $1,000s worth of USDC and put on some trades yourself. And personally, I'm very, very bullish on Parcl in the long run. I have a video called Winner's Curse. You can check that out, but I will most likely be holding my tokens for the future. Now we'll quickly touch on NFTs. You can of course go and use Tensor. Tensor already has a token that's going to come out. However, there's no way to really track how well you're doing with points. And I don't personally spend a whole lot of time in NFTs because they're quite difficult, and we can clearly see that the floor price of most things has just gone down and down. Like as an example, Tensorians was 100 Sol recently, and now it's down. And this is true of many things. Homeowners Association, this is the NFT for Parcl. This went up to about 19 Sol. I publicly said that I'm selling mine. I sold it, I converted it to USDC, and I put that into the Parcl liquidity pool. I would love to have one of these still, but at 19 Sol, I didn't think it was necessarily worth it, and the price went down. And when it comes to NFTs, it's a full-time job just to try and be profitable with them, so you're welcome to dive into them. However, I don't think there's a huge amount of value in actually trying to get points with Tensor. And to be honest, I'd say the exact same thing with Magic Eden. My only suggestion is if you're going to be buying or selling NFTs, then use different wallets for the different platforms. So use a dedicated wallet address for Tensor and a dedicated wallet address for Magic Eden. And to make this really, really easy to understand, what I mean by a dedicated wallet address is literally this one might be called NFTs and this one might be called NFTs Tensor. You would use a different one for the actual different DApp. And if you want to use Sniper, which is another marketplace, you would also go and use a different actual NFT wallet, specifically a different address. However, I don't see any value in actually trying to farm their points. Now, if all of that's too much for you, then fine. Start with really easy things, such as Grass. This DApp is really, really cool. And they basically take some of your internet bandwidth and they go and browse websites, and they take that data and they use it to train AI. That's kind of the gist in a nutshell. If you go to sebmonty.link, you can see all my general links here. But come down here, and this is my referral link for Grass. So please use it, and then you just install the extension in your browser. You cannot use it with a VPN, and if you don't have a very fast connection, then of course you can't use it. So this is the first video on airdrop farming. I'll give you more over the coming weeks, but remember, it requires you to actually jump in with some funds and be very, very vigilant to make sure your positions are there. Make sure you don't get liquidated unless you intend on getting liquidated, and you need to put volume through in order to actually extract value. There are so many people doing this right now that I don't think any of the videos out there that says $10 into $10,000, I just don't think that's a reality. There are literal buildings where there are people on their laptops doing this with 50 DApps a day, just putting money through, trying to Sybil attack it. And by Sybil attack, I mean they're trying to pretend to be lots of different users so they can extract more volume and more airdrop and more value, when in reality it's one person with 50 wallets. The other thing I want to mention is DApps are getting better and better at trying to stop the farmers, so they're having a threshold. And I respect this decision completely. At the end of the day, you should be getting rewards if you're actually using the DApp. But if you're just farming it with a small amount of capital, then don't expect a handout. But at the same time, get in there, extract some value, and it's up to the DApp and the community to actually keep you there and keep that stickiness with the token and the actual DApp. Fortunately, all the DApps I just showed you right now, I like them all. At present, I think Kamino and Grass are your best bets, followed by Meteora, and then the rest of them. I really do like Drift as well, But the point system thus far has not been smooth. And remember, it has to be lots of volume. Also, we have to be honest, Backpack Exchange is probably going to do very, very well. I'm just not in a jurisdiction where I can use it. That's all for this video. Catch you in the next one.